All righty. Well, welcome to the Hood Talks podcast. I am so excited for this episode because this is something that I am definitely passionate about as I do have a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old that will one day be in public school. But the topic of today's show is the school system is failing Black children. How do we, the community, support and continue to feed the creativity of our children? I have three awesome women here today. And we're going to get into this discussion and we're going to talk about different things pertaining to the school system and all of that. So I want to go ahead and thank you, ladies, for being here. I do want to give you guys the opportunity to introduce yourselves because don't nobody know nobody like you know you. So whoever would like to go first, please just give us a brief introduction of who you are and what if you support an organization, if you have a business, shout that out, give out that information. Feel free. Whoever wants to go first.
Yeah, my name is Chanel Bell. Especially I want to begin because my sister used my computer and it says Kelly. So for the record, my name is Chanel Bell and I am a special education teacher for St. Louis Public School District and a student, well, just finished being a master's student at Feinberg University. I'm very passionate about education. I always have been. I began as a daycare teacher when I was 13 and I haven't stopped teaching. I even considered going to medical school, but once I started tutoring and teaching, I realized the lack of encouragement for our students, the turnover rate, and I decided that my purpose was to build my community in the education field.
Okay, well, thank you for being here, Charmel, and I'm sure you're going to bring a lot to this conversation because we've talked personally, so I cannot wait. Whoever else want to go next, feel free.
Okay, I'll go next. Hello, I am Alice L. Wilson. I am the youth programs coordinator for Beyond Housing, meaning I run all of our youth programs, our after school program, our CDF Freedom Schools program. I've been with the organization for the last 10 years, working with children and volunteering in various aspects and with other organizations. I'm also a resident of Jennings. I am newly a candidate for the First Ward City Council in Jennings. So if you're in the First Ward,
Yes,
yeah,
go vote, go vote.
for me. And I'm excited to learn really from the lovely ladies we have here and get some good conversation going.
Oh, I am so glad you are here. I cannot wait. You are another gem in the community out here. So
Thank you.
I'm so happy to be here with you guys. And go ahead, Ribbon, please.
Hi, I'm Ribbon Williams. I am a fifth grade teacher for St. Louis Public Schools and a doc student at Lindenwood University. I am also currently campaigning to be the next union president for Local 420s for St. Louis Public Schools. I am also a founding member of Expect Better STL. It is a platform designed to give public school educators and educators in general a opportunity to be vocal about things that need to change in the education system.
And again, as what I've seen, you are a gem in the community. So I'm so glad that you welcome my invitation to be here on the show. So, ladies, again, thank you. We can go ahead and get started. So I want to start off by kind of just going into the part of the failing the school system, of the school system failing our children. What do you think is, what do you think, why do you think that is happening? Like, what are the reasons behind the school system failing our Black children? And anybody at any time, feel free to chime in.
I can start. I think that the root of the failure is the design of the system and the stagnation in general. It has kind of been in a place where it's not growing with the way the world grows. And so when there's a place for things to change, And there are people who are vocal about change. They don't meet a mold, they don't fit into a mold, and thus whatever it is that they have to bring to the table is not always accepted. So I think the failure comes from the system design in general.
Mm, I can agree to that. I definitely agree. Anybody else want to chime in on that, or? I'm sorry, Sharmel, we can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I unmuted myself. Can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you now. Yep.
Okay. So I would like to say, I believe there's a lack of basic needs in our community as a whole. And when you can't afford to pay your rent, don't know when you're going to eat, and you're experiencing trauma, it's very difficult to focus on your education, even with the parents. And I've seen that personally in my own family, which I'm not proud to say. But if the parent can't keep the roof over their head, they don't really care if their child is doing their homework, because they're in survival mode. And that is not only just for the students and the parents, but even the educators can't afford to take care of themselves. I have had coworkers that put insurance on their check for their children, and then they couldn't afford to pay their rent. And I think there's a disconnect between administration's pay and staff members' pay that actually work with the students. So the parents aren't getting what they need, the students aren't getting what they need, and the teachers aren't getting what they need. And so the whole system is literally failing. And also, we don't even have the supplies. So as an educator, I plan to spend around a fourth of my income each month in order to give my students the resources that they need. And some days I'll take off and then go volunteer at Kids Mart to give out supplies to make sure that my students have the supplies that they need, and solicit, help, because I can't afford to educate my students with just my income. Then we have ICAs and teaching assistants doing Kids Mart and what's the name of this, Toys for Tots, and we're always looking for coats and shoes and books and resources for the parents. So I feel like we're counselors, we're providers, we're educators. We have to be examples of God for our children, because those things that I was fortunate to get as a child, the students in our community are not receiving.
So, and what I'm hearing is also that it's not also just failing the students, it's failing the parents and the teachers and everyone.
System wide. It's system wide, because it's a domino effect. One thing happens and causes another thing to happen and causes another thing to happen. And then when we get to the bottom, we say it's the community's fault. It's the parents' fault. What about the things that happened before that caused me to get to that place? Of course, if I can't make sure that my children eat, or make sure that I have a roof over my children's head, I'm not going to be concerned with things that may not seem, it's out of sight, out of mind. If I can say, send you to school and let the teacher worry about it, because I have to worry about putting a roof over your head and putting clothes up on your back and putting food in your belly, then that we're going to put that responsibility on somebody else, because it's not designed for me to focus on that.
Yes, I thought, yeah, you guys are coming strong. Excuse me, y'all, all the noise is going on in my background, Zoom light. But so to keep on in this same area.
Hold on a second. I wanted to go back to what you were saying about supplies.
Go ahead then.
So I tried to do a school supply drive a few years ago, specifically for teachers mid-year. And let me tell you, that's not sexy. No one wants to give to teachers who are coming out of their pocket on a daily basis to get supplies. Now, you want to do a school supply drive at the beginning of the school year? Absolutely. You want to give out some backpacks to kids? Do that. But giving to teachers, it's not a sexy thing. That was probably the hardest drive I had ever done, just trying to get pencils, paper, crayons for teachers. And that just shows how even the parents in the community don't understand how hard the teachers have it.
And you know what I think they do now with the COVID situation. I think we have a newfound respect on the jobs that teachers do, because the parent now is stepping into that role. And it is definitely not an easy role. I've always been like, I don't see how people can be teachers. My
Mhm.
hat go off to y'all. But everybody ain't built for it. And that's another thing with the COVID situation right now. Everyone isn't built to be a teacher. So if you can't teach and you're in that job category right now because you're trying to help your child, it's hard. It's hard. And then I think it was me and you, Charmel, that talked about then if you're teaching and you don't have the proper education as the parent, how are you able to help your child? It's just not possible, right? So I really hope with this COVID situation that the school system is looked at and we make some plugs in the holes that they have, because there's a lot of them. It's definitely a lot
Even
of
with
holes.
COVID changed. So there's an analysis being made about what type of educator an educator actually is based off of what a parent can see on Zoom, right?
Mhm.
So a parent watches the teacher teach on Zoom, and then because they've never been in the classroom, or they don't necessarily have the time to visit their child's school very often, the lens that they have is just Zoom. And so they're developing an idea of what type of educator you are based off of how you are teaching on Zoom, which is different.
It's different.
My career as a Zoom educator or Teams educator is totally different from who I am in the classroom. So
Right.
even some parents or community members or grandmothers or whoever are, the people that are monitoring students during this time, they're taking that and they're making a judgment about what you are as an educator or who you are as an educator based off of that lens. So then that's two different things.
Right, because you're adapting right now. You're
They're
adapting to
adapting.
your new environment
they
as
can
a teacher.
they can see what's happening with with students in the background, and they can say, oh, okay, well, this is the problem student in the class, because they're watching who's muting and typing in the chat and making noises and doing that type of stuff. But that doesn't necessarily give you an idea of what it means to actually be an educator. That's giving you the idea of what it means for us to be educators right now in the current time.
Yeah. So let's talk about one of the things that's really happening or attempting to happen in our community, and that's the 11 schools, public schools that are supposed to be, they're trying to close. How do you ladies feel about that?
So this is in the city, all these 11 schools that's closing.
I believe, like, is it 7 of them or 9 of them that's in the city? You guys correct
They're
me
all
if
in
I'm
the
wrong.
city.
They're
All
all
of them in the city? Okay, all of them in the city. Yep.
because city has a lot of charter schools too. So I'm wondering what is are they closing because the enrollment is down?
That's what that.
Are parents finding more value in these charter schools, which is why enrollment is down? Because there are definitely students in the city. So I can't imagine that I can't imagine because what communities they're in, but they're closing schools where there are students. I just don't really understand the complete dynamic of that.
So, anybody, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if you connect the dots, right? If you do any research, you do any study, you track any information or pull any kind of statistics, you can see that smaller classrooms, smaller student population is just better.
Yep.
So the business side of education is why schools are closing.
Got it.
Because the everything included in the failure has something to do with money. Why we can't do this because we can't afford it. They don't have supplies because we can't afford it. They don't have books because we can't afford it. We're not paying teachers because we can't afford it. And so it's all about business. How much money does it take us? What's our overhead to keep these schools running? Can we take all the kids all the students from Ashland or Farragut or I'm trying to think of another school that they said they were going to close, and take that whole 150 students and put them in another school that's less populated, and then make it work? Of course you could do that, but
Right.
Why would you, whenever everything that you know about education tells you that a smaller class size is better? Everything that you know about education tells you that. And we're doing that because we can't afford it. Even though St. Louis Public Schools has buildings all over the city
Mhm.
that they own that are vacant that they could sell, but they don't sell them because there's too many guidelines for the sale. So in lieu of selling a building that's empty and vacant to whoever wants to buy it, because there's so many stipulations connected, you can't do this. Once you buy the property, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that. So instead of taking away the stipulations for these empty buildings, we would rather close schools in a community that needs them. We need
Wow.
neighborhood schools.
I didn't even know
Close
that.
the schools, the St. Louis public schools in my neighborhood some years ago, the first time they did it in my lifetime, one of the stipulations was if you buy it, you can't make a school. But that's what the building was designed for. So it's like you are purposely taking education from those that are in that area. I walked to school like a block and a half. So
Wow.
they're taking that aspect away from school.
Wow. So
And
you're
everything
you're-
they're saying,
go
everything they're
ahead.
saying about community and the police and like every piece that they say about like why police officers aren't successful in communities because it's not a community anymore. You
Right.
take away the schools, you take
Right.
away the, you know, people that the foundation of the community, grandmothers, mothers, fathers, we're in the community, the school's right here, the church is right here, the you know, the corner store is right here, the grocery store is right here. Take away the grocery stores, take away the schools, take away the police, everybody's all spread out and your sense of community is now gone.
Yep. That's how it starts. That's definitely how it starts. And I feel like that's kind of how the situation with the Kinlock started. They closed down that school,
Absolutely.
and then everything went down from there. Yep. Man, it's crazy. And it takes, like I said, it starts with the community. It starts how we build communities is having those things inside the community. When your community doesn't have that and it has to go outside of itself, then you don't have, like I said, you don't have the community anymore. Oh, ain't that crazy? It is just amazing.
You know,
Go ahead.
we don't even consider the fact that all of the credentials you need in order to be a teacher. Like I had a bachelor's degree in biology when I started working in the education field. I had to go and get a master's, like basically taking the undergrad courses for education plus the master's courses. And it took me 4.5 years, and I already had been teaching college previous to that. Do you understand what I'm saying? I taught graduate level college and labs and worked at UAB's medical school in the summer internship and dissected cadavers. And I had so much knowledge. And then when I started, I had to start all the way at the bottom of the totem pole. And I just actually did it to finish my undergrad degree. But I realized there was a lack because when I initially began, I was an autism therapist. And the kids were biting me and spitting in my face and calling me bitches and hoes, to be frank. And then I had to work at Giant Step School of Autism in the summer. Well, because I had a passion for it as well, but I needed to supplement my income because I didn't make enough money to go to school and go to work and live. Like last night, I'm a business consultant for my cousin's business, and I'm her assistant chef. You know, I work all night. I went to sleep at 3 a.m. and I woke up at 8. I don't have a time to break. Sometimes I may sleep 2 or 3 hours a night to get a 4.0 or the closest if I get a 3.87, I guess. But I could have got all A's if I had a break or if I had funding. I had money to pay for my school, or I didn't have to make sure my dad didn't die in a nursing home. But even as an adult, I'm suffering from trauma because I can't afford to pay for a lawyer for my dad and pay my rent. You understand what I'm saying? So teachers that have this wealth of knowledge are not about to keep working for $40,000 a year when they can go to another venue and work for $150,000 a year.
That's true.
So when you're here and you want to educate your community, you almost have to find a whole nother career and then come back and give to the community, or work as a teacher and a professor, or volunteer. Like she was saying, you got to volunteer. I'm going through a trauma myself and signing up to teach parents the high set so that they can help me teach their kids. And that's utterly ridiculous to me, really. I mean, I don't mind it because I'm community driven, and you know, I have a purpose, and as a servant of God, I can just keep going with the love that I have inside me. But everybody doesn't have that. We get tired.
Sure, I get what you're saying. Okay.
And our kids don't get that from school. You're not gonna learn how to hustle and how to take care of yourself, your family, go to school, go to work, and be successful what's happening in public schools is they want kids to follow directions, which is great. Okay, you learn how to follow directions. That's how you gonna get through school. But once you're done and there's no one to give you directions, then you're lost. You don't know what to do. You don't know where to go. So you lost. You don't learn that hustle gene from school. You don't learn how to be an entrepreneur, how to build a life, not even basic life skills, how to
I was gonna say,
balance
right.
your account. Do
They
you
took out the basic life skills.
all of that? So that's definitely a way where schools are failing our kids.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. I think.
All,
Oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead. Look, y'all go ahead.
I
Y'all.
think it's all of this is like system stuff to me. Everything, every time I look at it, every time I hear it, every time I hear a complaint, a gripe, an issue, it's connected to a system. If you don't fit the mold, this is with education in general. If you are in a classroom and you don't fit the mold, if you are in a leadership position and you don't fit the mold, if you're in an administrative position and you don't fit the mold, as a student as well, then it's like, okay, what do we do? What do we do with this one student who can't sit still or walk it, a line? What Miss Alice was saying about, it's about following directions. It's things that I do as an educator because it doesn't bother me, it bothers you. So you want the schools, oh, I think we should make sure that they walk down the hall in a straight line. Well, I don't.
Right.
And so if it's not disrupting anybody,
right,
it is what it is. That's, those are trivial things. That's a control issue. That I don't see a place where walking in a straight line has made or broke me in my life.
Right.
Never.
Right.
It hasn't made or broke me. So understanding that when you need to walk in a straight line, that's a concept that we can teach. But teaching students that is something that is connected to education or connected to some type of system that is going to make you better or not, or make you worse, it's ridiculous. Yes. So all those things to me are connected to the, being able to meet the status quo, how you look. Like what a lot of the change agents cannot be change agents and can't be transformational because they don't look the way you're supposed to look. I don't sound the way I'm supposed to sound to be a union leader. I don't look the way I'm supposed to look to be a classroom teacher. Oh, well, why would we listen to her? Right. Why would we want her to be, if I say y'all and I talk the way that I talk, and speak the way that I speak, and I'm coming to meetings with big hoops on, and it is what it is, and I'm talking with my hands. We can't listen to her. There's no way she could be a leader. I absolutely am a leader. I am a leader. When I had locks, I'm in a leadership role in that capacity as well. We're looking for an image. We are looking for students to sit in desks and write on paper at 9 o'clock in the morning or at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and eat lunch in 20 minutes and not speak to one another, like things that don't make sense at all.
Don't make sense.
And we tell kids that they need to brush their teeth before and after they eat. When are they doing that at school?
Right.
Who's doing that? Why are we contradicting ourselves?
But that's the thing. And then we expect children to do things that adults aren't able to do. I'm like, are y'all kidding me? Especially like, for instance, even with this Zoom situation, like, if the van starts preschool in March and we're still in this COVID situation, they're like, she'll get a laptop or a computer or whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, well, first y'all say too much TV screen or all of that is too much. So how am I going to make my 3-year-old at the time sit and be on a laptop, which I can't even do that. Or if I'm working 8 hours a day at work and I'm sitting at a screen, I'll be like, man, I got to get up. I'm tired of sitting at this screen. Or my eyes hurt or my head hurt. So how do we expect children to do these things? You know what I mean? It's amazing to me. Go ahead.
It's not just with Zoom. It's with a lot of different things. Like that kid that can't sit down. Why do you expect that kid to grow out of it as an adult? You see those grown folks in meetings that can't sit still. That's the same kid that couldn't sit down. So instead of trying to make that child conform to what they should be doing, let's teach them the way that they learn. Let's get them in a career that fits the fact that they can't sit down. Like in my program, we of course there are rules, but there are some things that are not rules that are in school. Like it kind of goes back to what you were saying, Ribbon, is that like the kids wear hoodies in the building. Kids love hoodies. I love hoodies. It's okay. We're inside of an enclosed building. There's no one here but us. If they want to have their hood up, they can have their hood up. Now, we're definitely going to have to talk about you being little Black kids and where you go with your hood up. We'll have that
Right.
conversation. But it's not a problem that you're wearing them in my building. That doesn't disrupt me. You're still listening. You're still participating. You have your hood up. No one cares. So, like, just let's look at who they are as humans and teach them how they need to learn and just care about them as people. Like, it's nothing wrong with that. And that doesn't
Individual.
hurt anything in life.
Right.
And we can cycle that directly back to why schools don't need to be closed. Because if you have a student in your class who is a mover, you know, some people have to move to think, to exercise certain thoughts, or to get things down on paper. They need to lay on the floor. They need to, you know, sit in stand at a standing desk or what have you. If you have a smaller size classroom and you have 2 kids in your class who are movers, then it's totally different than you having 30 in your class and you have 10 that are movers.
Yes.
If you have students in your classroom and the system that you have designed is preventing that student from learning, you don't change the student, you change the system. You change the structure. You don't change kids. You help them and guide them and aid them in what best works for them. You don't change how a child is because you don't know how to, or you don't know how to, or you can't function with 10 movers in your classroom. And that's not a shot towards teachers. And that's not a shot towards buildings or, you know, your classroom management, because they always want to give that. They always want to sprinkle a little, you don't know what you're doing in the air until it's them. You know, you get the student who spits on you and kicks you and punches you, and they come back in your class, you know, the next day. But when they punch or kick or spit on a principal, voila, they're suspended.
Right.
So it's totally, you have to be able to understand children, understand people, understand human nature, and understand how you as a system, because educators are a part of a system, how you have to engage those students in every way possible, traditional and non-traditional, and boxing students up into classrooms, you know, overcapacitating, you know, making it where it's, you know, 20 kids. I have 6 children and 4 grandchildren. If all of them are in my house at the same time, I'm all over the place trying to manage little kids and, you know, people all over the place. You want to give me 30 children, many who I don't know from, you know, they're new to the building or whatever the case may be, and then put me in a building where there's 15 other teachers that have 30 children. How is that helping? How is that a benefit to anybody? That doesn't help anybody at all.
No. And I see you was trying to say something, Charmel.
I was going to say, now, one thing that I can say as a special educator is I have a little more room to modify. I have a lot more room to modify because I actually work at a therapeutic school where the children that are expelled from your schools are sent. And so I may have 4, but it's almost a full caseload, like 30 students due to their behavior and their needs. And so I do have the luck of being able to have modified seating or let my kids lay on the floor under the desk without being frowned at. But I mean, some of the stuff I do, they actually look at me like I'm crazy. Like if I have a nonverbal student that likes to sing Disney songs, but she won't sing anything else, guess what? We're going to sing Disney songs and run the highway. And then when you look at me like a psychopath, I'm going to look at you like one. Why are you in my business? Do you want me to teach this kid how to behave properly and build a rapport with them? Or do you want to look at me like I'm crazy?
Right. But let me, to kind of go off of what you were just saying, what I kind of, to me, is crazy. You say they're expelled from regular schools and they're taken to your school and you're able to adapt to what they need. Why can't we do that at the beginning, though?
My principal always says that.
Why do
We can adapt everywhere and we can train out so they won't keep coming in, because then what you do is concentrate all the children that have gotten in trouble in one building so they can all act the fool together.
Mm-hmm.
But then
Then
you're labeling
other
them.
foolishness, then I got to get beat up for $40,000 a year. That
But
ain't
wait a
right.
minute, though. But then you're labeling them. Instead of saying they do need special needs, how can we adapt to what they need
Yeah.
here And so they won't feel so out of place or out of,
Losing.
yeah, to me, that's taking me away.
Self-determination.
And you're like, oh, I'm not good enough to be here with the regular kids. So then
And so I'm triggered. Now
It'll
I'm
act
triggered. And I'm getting ready to turn up. I'm gonna
Speaking it to your chick, I'm bad, so I'm gonna be bad then. I'm gonna be stupid then. I don't know nothing. I'm gonna act like I don't know nothing then. So then we have that. So look, y'all, look, girl.
That kid that has nothing to lose. When I tell you, oh, like, you want to take away my future? Oh, you took away my future? Oh, I'm really gonna clown or whatever. You know, I'm after school, so that's like something. But I never take away anything from a kid that they can't earn back. Because when that kid has nothing to lose, you thought they was turning up. Oh, they gonna clown now. So you took them out of.
They can't stand me because I'm dragging everybody to the field trip.
Oh,
yeah,
everybody going.
We'll be holding hands. We'll be holding hands. I'm sorry, but you going. I don't care if your permission slip not signed. Let me call and see what I can do. Can grandma, auntie, uncle, who's off? Can anybody come up here and sign this? Because we're going. It's stuff that you need to see that I know you'll never see.
I agree with that. I do agree with that.
I'm taking everybody with me
out of their 10-block radius, and you need to experience some things. And sometimes the parents just genuinely can't, allow them to experience certain things. So that's where I'm grateful. I can pick the places I get to take my kids, and we can go do things that you may never have had the chance to see. So I definitely do agree with that.
And so that's a good, taking them out of their comfort zones. A lot of children have not been, let's take for instance, the city right now, the city schools that they're closing. A lot of them kids don't get out of the city. So they don't know outside the city areas, and they haven't seen anything outside their homes. So taking them out of their environment sometimes so they can see different things is awesome, I would think, to children. I think it'll be very beneficial. But man, let's get on, because I really do want to rally and talk about with the community, as community, what can we do? So let's talk about how our local leadership is feeling. Local, when I say local, I mean like our aldermen, our mayors. I'm talking about those type of people. How are they failing us and our children, and what can we demand of them to help to demand that they help make this better for our children? What can we be demanding from them in your opinions?
That's the first thing, because it's money. Can you hear me? It's funding. We need funding for our children. We need curriculum. We need extracurricular activities. We need transportation. And I cannot just blame it on the aldermen them, but they do need to take some of that wealth and spread it out so that the whole community can eat instead of just the people at the top. I'm going to start with that. Then after that, okay, but look at our community as a whole. There are so many people that have skill sets that keep it to themselves instead of sharing. Mm-hmm. Why can't we go ahead and be like, we teachers, and I'm Black, so guess what? I'm gonna be Black, like I said, every day when I wake up. It doesn't matter how many accolades I get. It doesn't matter if my name is Dr. Bell or Miss Bell or Master Bell. When I walk outside, I'm still Black. Mm-hmm. And I need to teach my students how to use their functional skills. I need to teach them how to make safe choices. I need to teach them self-determination. I teach my 8-year-olds with special needs. I'm the captain of my own ship. Or, I'm the coach of my team. So they understand that that they run their own show. As an autism therapist, we did ABC, the antecedent, the behavior, and the consequence. So you need to understand what triggers you, what behavior comes from that, and then what's the consequence of behavior. And are you willing to take that consequence? Because say for instance, you hit somebody, they might tell on you, they might slap the hell out of you. And I might not be able to stop it, because if you stand right there and you slap them, their reflex is right there. We both in the behavior, we all in the behavior school. I get up every day knowing y'all willing to fight, and y'all get up every day ready to bang. So guess what? All of us must be some thugs, whatever y'all want to call yourselves, when y'all think y'all want to fight y'all teachers. And like you were saying, Alice, don't have nothing to lose. I told the kid, well, I guess I'll call your grandfather. He said, I don't give a fuck who you said. This is 7th grader. You can tell my mama, my daddy, my grandma, fuck all them hoes. Now what you gonna do, bitch?
And I mean, this is I can only imagine what he's dealing with at home too. I talk to my niece and nephew a lot, because they came from, happy shout out to them, happy 14th birthday. But they lived in Jefferson City for a while, and they came from that environment to what is it, Bell Fountain environment. And they would come and have conversations with me that things that they couldn't believe was going on. You guys gotta know too, like it's different from Jefferson City to Bell Fountain. That's a big difference. And the school system is a big difference. And so, they were just talking to me, and I say, the things I had to tell them was like, them kids are dealing with things at home that you don't see. And I know it hurts you that you're getting teased and all of this stuff and how bad they are, or the behaviors that you're seeing and noticing. But you have to know that they definitely are dealing with things at home and they're bringing it to school. And so I'm like, have a little bit of empathy for them, but it's definitely, it's amazing when I hear the conversations that they have with me about school. And this is one of their big environments that we don't as people realize. Like, we talk about work and we like, oh, we tired and we got all this going on. We got bills and things like this. But these children going outside of their homes into schools and dealing with other people is definitely a difficulty. And we need to be sympathized to that. Like, let them know that it's, this is part of life, of course, but it is hard. Schooling is hard for them. So how do we support them? That's my thing. Go ahead.
I feel like it's more of a challenge for them to navigate through, these types of spaces because their brains aren't fully developed. So, we may have a challenge that we might think is very trivial. And, why is it such a big deal to you? But it's going to be a big deal to them because they aren't where we are. Their brains are not developed. They're immature. They're learning the things that we already know. And a lot of times it's like, we want to use what we, our previous experiences to kind of assess what's happening with each individual student or each individual person whenever their experience is theirs. It's not going to be the same. It's not going to be, you're not going to get the same, if this and this and this happened, then this. It's not going to always be the same outcome. There's different things that are happening, and we want to teach, different educators or people in the education community, go in and like talk this way and say friend and be kind and those types of things that, you can't not to say that this is what's happening in everybody's home, but if you are at home, if you are a student who's home and you being called niggas and bitches and hoes and shit like that, when you're talked to that way at home and you come to school and the teacher is saying, hey, friend, you have to get me to a place, you have to bring me to a place where I'm understanding that this is kind and this is the way to choose. You can't just, say friend and then expect me to say, oh, she's saying friend. So that means that, we're friends and we're supposed to have a rapport with one another in this way. Right. You can't, and this is one of the reasons why African-American teachers are important, because the amount of time that it takes a person who doesn't come from where you come from to understand the logic of what's happening in our community, in our homes, in our family structure. I don't have time to teach you that so that you can help these students that you're teaching that you don't have, that type of relationship with. So if we have African-American teachers in a classroom and they have an idea of some type of, the lives that we live outside of school, then it's easier for me to teach those students because I have less to unpack and less to, understand or learn about this community, this culture, and this structure before I get to the part, of teaching, because you can't get to the teaching until you got to get through that first.
Exactly. Right. You have to unpack all of the others.
You have to unpack all of that first. And it's not just a community thing. Of course, if I'm working 2 jobs and I'm not going to be checking homework or checking book bags or even checking to see if you even have a book bag, because I'm working 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet. And I'm not working 3 great jobs. I'm working 3 piss poor jobs
part-time
to barely
jobs,
have,
right.
And then I'm still I'm getting food stamps or WIC or going to the food pantry and all that kind of stuff. Nobody, I mean, and then it's like, why come you didn't come to parent teacher conference, or why didn't this thing happen or that thing happen? And it's like, we have aldermen and we have community leaders who look a certain way and talk a certain way, and they get in these spaces where we're trying to get funding and grants and development in communities. And these people are not always welcome. They're not always welcome. If you look a certain way and you talk a certain way, people aren't falling at your feet to hand over money. So I don't necessarily think that it's an alder person or a community leader or a mayor or governor or whoever the person might be that can give us money. We have one person, we have one mayor, but how many people are in the city? How many people are being a representative of whatever it is that we're trying to get that one person to do? We have to be collective and come together on one accord and say, we have to do better. We all need to address all these structures and systems that are failing us and causing us to not be able to engage in the things that we need to engage in, voting processes or community activities or drives or whatever the case may be. If we have things in place that are stopping us from doing that, we need to address that.
I agree. I definitely agree. I do agree. I definitely think too that if we go back to thinking like in the 60s, and I know it's a different time. I know everybody like, oh, this is a different time. It's like the 60s, but just unifying, like what you were saying. But if we have the same people in the same environment, like like you're saying, everyone is working 2 or 3, 4 jobs, who has the time or the money to help? So it's when we need the people that are at another level. If you're not going to be in the community, then can you bring some of your stuff back to the community then? Like, stop leaving the community when you become so successful and you have, and then you're like, oh, well, I'm better. Let me run and y'all deal with whatever y'all got to deal with because I ain't got nothing to do with that no more. No, bring back some of your resources to your community and help. Because right now, I feel like we have a lot of people who are in the same situation. So how can I keep spreading thin of what I have? And I'm taking, like you said, 3 or 4 jobs, and I'm penny pinching, and I got this and that. I can't provide anything extra. I'm barely giving to mine. So how can I give you anything extra? It's the people that have the extra. Bring in your resources for us and help us. That's what we need to do, and that will be more collectively. Because everybody right now is like in certain communities, they don't have much. So they like, I'm barely making it. And then I think that's when we get the mind frame of, hey, I gotta do what I gotta do. How can I help you? How can I be some servant to you?
And stop frowning on leadership that doesn't look like what you think leadership should look like. Stop frowning on support that doesn't look like the support that you want it to look like. I don't have to wear these casual little business jacket and skirt for you to understand that I'm coming from a place of love. I'm coming from a place of change. Don't tell me that I can't help, because so the people who are saying that, we need to do this and we need to do that, been around 20, 30 years. So that means I could put all this on you then, right? I could say that all the failures are connected to your leadership. Let some new people come in, give some new eyes and ears on some things, because you've been here doing this. You've been around,
right,
for the school district, or you've been in this leadership role, or been in this political position for however many years. You went from alderman and representative and all this different stuff, and we're still sitting here looking crazy. Let somebody else in. Let some of these young people in who are vocal. Some of these young people out here have great ideas, and rally the young people that we need, because they don't feel like they're going to be judged and all that, for what they look like or how they sound, and bring some of those people in. And that's how you change the community. Nobody want to hear about, we need to go to that. Let's go to the church and youth group this and everybody doesn't want to do that.
I agree.
Some people want to help, but they don't want to conform. And so now their help, we don't need their support. We do.
Okay, I get what you're saying now. Like, because I was lost for a minute, but I get what you're saying. You're saying people shy away from people that don't look like. So, for instance, me.
Leadership. Let me say this. So, like, for me, if I was to run for mayor in Ferguson or whatever, a lot of people would probably run
from that idea because they already ran from Mariella, but they would run from that idea. They did, girl. Listen, don't get me started on that. But they would run from that idea because, right, I have locks. I'm loud. I'm a proud Black woman. I'm supportive of my Black people. You know what I mean? I don't talk proper. Y'all know that. That ain't how I roll. That's why I call it the hood talk, because I don't talk like, the proper supposed way to talk, the proper English way. So I get what you're saying now, and I totally agree with you. And I think that is definitely what we're lacking right now, is that we won't accept leadership from people that don't look what the supposed norm is. And
that's huge in Missouri. That is a major point of stagnation in Missouri. Major point of stagnation. For it to be this many, I see a lot of strong African American leaders, strong community leaders, and they're not always African American. But guess what? As soon as they rally the troops, then here comes somebody saying how we're trying to, they're trying to change, and they're trying to move this, and all the money's going to go here, and stay away from this person, because all the people that have been around 30 and 40 years still running the show. They're taking that, cycling that same money back through so that they can keep their generational wealth, and everybody else can be poor, broke, and looking crazy.
That power. They don't want to give up that power.
They don't want to lose their seats. They want to stay in power.
They want that power.
I feel like one of the issues in the city is that it's so big. It's so like the folks who are in power can benefit the area that they live in and still leave the poor areas poor and the failing schools failing. They don't have to be accountable to those poor areas, because like you said, the community out here working 3 or 4 jobs, they don't have time to be educated voters or understand what's going on. And I'm not saying everybody, I'm definitely not saying everybody, but there are definitely folks in that type of situation who got more immediate problems right in front of their face that they can't focus on what leadership is doing, or even just what their kids' teachers are doing. I will say that's kind of why I fell in love with Jennings, because it's small and there's a lot of it's smaller than the city, I'll say. But our folks have value in our community. Like, we have buy-in. There are people who want to see Jennings do better. There are folks who graduated from Jennings, became successful, and still live in Jennings. Like, they really actually genuinely care about the community. They got so much pride. It's like even Normandy, even though Normandy isn't like, one of the most wealthy municipalities, there's so much Normandy pride. Their alumni is strong. U City, they're a cult. So, it's smaller places.
I was definitely going to say U City, same city.
But, they really have buy-in in the community. And I just feel like the city becomes so spread apart. And now they're trying to break it up even more with the NGA coming. And they really trying to get us out of there. The city, they want all these old brick homes. They want to move folks out. So it's really hard. It's problems on top of problems on top of problems in the city. And you can't wrap your head around everything that's happening at one time.
Mm-hmm. I definitely agree with you on that. I think that's a lot of what it is. That's some of what it has to do with too. Like, they are trying to push people, Black people, I'm gonna be real and raw, out the city, and it's a start of gentrification. You can't nobody tell me that ain't what's going on.
And that's a fact. That's a fact. I stand on it.
That is what they're trying to do.
I think that we need to get together as a community, like you were saying, Ribbon. We can't do everything, but everybody has their strength, right? So in leadership training at my university, which is a Caucasian university, and they let me be who I am. And it's kind of sad that I can be who I am at an all-white school more than I can be who I am at an all-Black school. Oh. I had somebody tell me, don't dye your hair because you're going to get in trouble. Why am I going to get in trouble? It's my hair. It's mine. If it's red, green, or purple, it has nothing to do with my approach to education. The students might look at me, they got ADHD if my hair look like a rainbow. I ain't trying to be funny. I'm telling the truth. If they don't like me like this, let me go somewhere where they're going to appreciate me. So here we go. Some people are strategic. Some people are leaders. Some people conform. Some people are servants. Some people are good with technology. So instead of you and me and y'all trying to do everything, why can't we find the people that have those strengths like they do in China and things like that? Find what you like and go and learn what you need to do in order to be successful, to have a lucrative career. As far as going back to that boy that cussed me out, I said, oh, I gotta be flexible. That's what I learned at Furburn. That approach ain't finna work with him. He don't care if I call the pro. He don't care if I call Jesus. He don't give a damn. You hear me? So guess what? So, well, why don't you tell me what you like? What are some things that you like? Do you like pizza? Do you like whatever? I don't know what the, excuse my language. I got a bad mouth. What do you like that I can give you?
Right?
Roblox,
You want to call me bitches at home. And y'all think I ain't gonna cuss over and I got third grade come to the fucking house?
You got a PS5 from here? He'll settle down for me.
Yeah, I taught that boy how to make handmade bags. I had a pizza party.
But let me say this. When you were saying that you can't be yourself in Black schools, because that's a division of us. They want us to not like each other. You're different. Wait, this is what Black people sometimes do. Like this is what we've been conditioned to do. Not all Black people, because some of us are different, but some of us been conditioned to be like, if you don't think like I think, well, again, to say the leadership role, if you don't look in a specific way that I think you're supposed to look, then like you said, Ribbon, why should I be listening to you? Why should
you don't agree with what I say?
I hear that all the time. And so I get it. I go into spaces all the time where it's just me and there's nobody like me there. There's just me and then them. So when I get in those spaces, and it might be a sprinkle of, one of us here or there, I always run into the one of us who's like, well, if I could do it, then anybody can do it. So it's easy. No, it's not. Just because I made it doesn't mean that my path was easy. And it doesn't mean that the path is still open for people to come behind me. We got to stand on the side and make sure, like the bumpers at the bowling alley, that people can walk through there. Stop getting there and shutting the door because you're there and saying, okay, well, everybody, I made it. So of course it's, it's not easy. No. And for every person who comes behind me, I have to be standing there with my hand right there to pick them up. I can't be at the top. Like, come up, y'all. Come on up. I made it up here. And when you get in those spaces, it's some of us in those spaces who are not welcoming because they sometimes want to be there alone because they want to feel accomplished for being there on their own. Then they get there and then they get infiltrated by that noise up there. And the noise tells them, if you got here, they'll get here. Come with us. They're coming. And then we have a system designed to keep us behind.
Yes.
Okay.
Man, did you say something? You said a mouthful right there.
That's the truth.
If we end the show right now, that is it right. Why I do not understand that mindset. We had oh my God, I think it was I can't even remember what it was, but he bragged about being the only one. I am the first Black such and such, such and such. I say that's not good. Because guess what? You're going back to fight a whole nother. You're going to fight a whole nother people that ain't your people by yourself. You ain't gonna win.
That don't make sense.
You should be saying, hey, let's come. How can I help you come? We need you. I need you. I need you. I'm like, that ain't good. I'm glad you made it, but bruh, that ain't good. You going back to a whole nother side that don't want you there and ain't nobody else like you, and you trying to fight against them. That ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work.
I can tell you, one of my previous colleagues, she was talking about how crabs are in the bucket, and when one climbs up, the other one pulls it down, right? Mm-hmm. And she told me this. What if, say, for instance, all the crabs moved to one side and knocked the bucket over, and the bucket fell? That's the system falling down. We're all working together collectively to not only stand up for our community, but I'm not about to be civil every time I open my mouth. If I could watch somebody storm the Capitol building, I know damn well I can say y'all got me fucked up. Can I get some money? Y'all can kiss my ass. That's treason. I'm gonna say my shit. I'm gonna say whatever come out my mouth. This is the thing. Why can't we knock the system down, stand up for our rights, teach our babies self-determination, how to make your money, how to do your account?
We can't do that because there's laws and there's rules and there's policies.
Too many rules.
Break the law. We can't go against the.
No, we can watch these people take guns and hold Nancy Pelosi mail in the damn.
They kill me dead. They kill me dead with.
What?
You can't do that because it's against the
Damn
rules.
lie.
I don't want to hear about a policy, a procedure, a rule, a law,
Nothing.
a regulation, or anything that was designed to keep me from being successful. I don't want to hear it. If it's there,
Busting the door open like they did.
kick it down.
Kicking it down. I told my friend, if the door glass, bust the glass. If your apartment is cold and your electricity off and they ain't no warm, bust the damn glass. They gonna be cold and you gonna be cold. When they call the maintenance man, drag his ass over your house. That's what you gotta do. You watch that?
Because they want to keep saying, well, and this is a very sensitive subject, but teachers striking. We can't do that against the law. It's against the law. So, I mean, everybody has their thoughts and everybody has their idea about why it's good and why it's bad or whatever the case may be. But I will stand on everything that can be done to educators without paying them will be done until we stop it. Every time they put up a pay scale that says starting at 38,000 and we allow them to do it, they'll keep doing it.
And
Every time they say we giving you $100 for each classroom for school supplies for the whole entire school year, every time they say that, every time they say we giving you one ream of paper for a month, every time they say that and we take the ream of paper, we are complacent. We are allowing it to continue. And every time they say that we're gonna come up with develop a contract, or we're gonna come up with an agreement, or we're gonna come up with a rule or regulation for educators or a class or coursework, and we don't become vocal about what we feel like needs to be happening, it's going to continue, whether we strike or whether we don't strike or whatever. If we do, we do. If we don't, we don't. I will say that they'll keep telling us that the ball is not in our court if we believe that. If we believe that there's a rule or policy in place that shouldn't be there and we allow it to continue, it's going to continue. What are you? It's just not going. We're just not gonna wake up one day and it's gonna be okay. Now we decided to change something. No, it's gonna continue. It's gonna be the same way. Kids are still gonna be in classrooms with raggedy desks, old chalkboards, no smart board, no technology. Can't get soap in the restroom. It's gonna keep happening if we let it happen.
On the floor. And
it's
then
gonna
they
keep
walk into
happening.
your classroom and COVID out.
Yes.
And guess what? I work at a school where you got to be on site. You got to be on site. They let us sign up for on-site, off-site.
Because we might have 5,000 people who have an issue with it. We have 5,000 people who pissed, but we'll have 5 people show up to change whatever it is that needs to be changed. We need action. We need people who are going to come to the table and be vocal. And every time they turn you down, you're going to come back. Every time they say no, you're going to come back. You're going to come with a better plan, a better idea, a better structure. You can't just keep sitting around talking about how you hate something. And because we need people, tell somebody that you know is getting ready to go in there and kick that door down.
Not gonna do it. I had somebody tell me, Bill, you better quit complaining about this and that, or you ain't gonna have no job. I said, I'm gonna have a job. Don't speak that on me. I walked up out there having no job. I walked up out my
because what is mine is mine. Because what is mine is mine, and that's something nobody.
And that's something God gave me. If you don't right at the schoolhouse, God gave me. He already has a plan for me. That's great. So I can say whatever I want to say, and the people that hear gonna be like, "Dang, you know what she said? I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking. Look at her. Look at this girl. I've been thinking 30 years. Let me ask her to work for me, so I can have somebody to stand up for me. So if I got to be a pit bull in the skirt, or some tennis shoes, or whatever, if I got to teach my students science through rap, y'all should see my professor doing the TED Talk. When I was a senior at UMSU, it was birds, bees, and bees. We was in there singing P. Diddy songs and then mixing it with mating patterns of animals. Why can't I use the language that they know? This lady's on the TED Talk singing you down with OPP. Got the people singing, yeah, you know me. And calling it extra fair conception or something, with copulation. We having sex with somebody else outside the relationship. Why can't we relate the language that we know to our intellect? The reason why I'm a teacher is a collective reason, but when I was in the 7th grade, my teacher was Black, And she was cool. She did that little stuff you be doing really with the ass. And she knew you like this. Everybody better sit down. She clapped hard. She about to go to your mama's house and drag you to her house. So quit playing with her. You be like, never mind. Never mind, I'm gonna be good. You know.
See, I didn't graduate from high school. I got my GED way years after I dropped out of high school in 17. And then went to HBCU and then graduated top of my class valedictorian. You don't get to fail me as a system because there's no way that I went from that to that. A system failed me. If I have the wherewithal and the knowledge to eventually go to college and graduate top of my class, I had that.
That was already good.
Where were your antennas when you should have been helping me? Like, what is going on with the system where there are people out there just like me? I had a child when I was 12 years old. A system should have said, we need to get her and get her situated.
Right.
But it was like, oh, well, nope, you know what? She already has a baby. Let's get her over here. And if she decides she wants to give her some food stamps and give her a little public aid and a little Section 8 or something, and she'll be good.
Mm-hmm. We
They
did our job.
We did our job, but it's plenty of teen parents or young people out here who have the poor upbringing and didn't have the cards dealt to them the way that we would like to see them for people that end up being successful, who can still be successful if we stop looking at the mess. Stop looking at the shallow things and the stuff that really doesn't matter. Because no matter where you come from or what your background is or what type of obstacles you have had to overcome to get to where you are, you still have a place in success. There's a place where you can be successful, and whatever that means for you is what it means. If owning a community co-op or having a organization or having a garden or whatever is success to you, then that's successful. It doesn't always have to be connected to anything monetary. If what success means to you is doing something for your community and pouring into your community or being a church leader or whatever, that's your thing. If you're a praise dancer, go on and show out being a praise dancer. Right. Stop trying to put everybody into a mold and start using these young people in the community to help help rebuild and move things forward.
I agree. I totally agree. I definitely agree with that. I definitely want to touch on, guys, we done hit so many other, see, this is why I was telling y'all, like, when we flow,
y'all.
And I love it. I am so grateful for y'all being on this show. And this, like you said too, Ribbon, this is why I started the platform. Because I always felt like I couldn't voice my opinion because I didn't look a certain way. I couldn't say what I wanted to say, or if me talking, nobody's listening or any of that. And so when I started this, I'm like, no, this is community's platform. And we get on here and we're going to talk about what's going on in our community, and we're going to keep it real and we're going to talk about it. We're going to find out solutions. We're going to fix the problem. We ain't going to just talk though. I don't want to just talk. Because we get lost at sometimes in just talking. Let's figure out the solutions and what we can do. And let's not be scared, because that's what you were saying. Like, I know so many conversations I had with people behind closed doors and be like, oh, well, girl, I'm tired of this and this going on and that going on. I'm like, well, let's talk about this, get out here and make sure that it's being done. And we need to let them know, oh, no, I can't do that. I might lose, which I get. People want their livelihoods. They want to keep their jobs. I ain't trying to, throw no shade in nobody or whatever. I get that. You got families you got to take care of and all of that. But when sometimes we got to be uncomfortable with being
uncomfortable.
Yeah, uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. Like, we have to shake things up in order for us to get some things to happen. And then when we shake them up, because I had a conversation with a guy who I'm not going to forget what he told me. If he's watching this, this is in my head. He said, we need to start supporting our leaderships. When we do get up here in these leadership places and we don't look like the regular leaders, we need the people to back us up and support us and rally around us, because this fight is not easy. It's not hard. I mean, it's not easy. It's hard. So we need people to help support us, and we need to rally around our leadership that's doing things for our communities. We can't keep failing our leadership either. And I like you said, it's not just on the leadership. It's all collectively us together. Man, this is a powerful conversation. It touched so many things, not just even the school system, but just period in our community. It touched so many things. When we're talking about the Black Lives Matter movement, when we're talking about white supremacy and how that, is affecting us in our communities, all of that, we have to stop being scared. We have to come out and say what is wrong and call it out. When we have people that's in our neighborhoods doing things that ain't right, call it out. You know what I mean? When we have folks that's sitting in our seats and not, when we have people sitting in seats who aren't doing stuff for our people, let's call them out. It's okay to separate sometimes and be like, hold up, we need to be more specific on what you're doing for us. What are you doing for us? We ain't got to always be like, well, let's fall in with the minority. Well, I guess I'll just take this and we're part of it. No. What are we going to do for Black children? What are we going to do for Black people? It's okay. It's okay, y'all. Because if we don't, look what they did. They was proud to say patriotic, and we gonna come up in here, and this is ours. I was proud to do that
because when we do it, we're ghetto thugs though.
Hoodlums, gangsters. We can't even.
We said that the same thing you were saying about coloring your hair. When you color your hair, it's ghetto. When they color it, it's a trend.
Yeah. It's creative.
It's a trend. You know what I'm saying? So we need to, we need to step away from that, the idea that we get portrayed a certain way by doing certain things.
Yes.
Cut up. Go on and cut up. They gonna say you cutting up anyway.
If I don't do nothing, if I talk hard, I gotta talk like, I have to use this voice in order to interact. But if I decide to use this voice to interact, then I'm wearing an afro wig and a Superwoman shirt and some chucks. What you gonna do? I'm gonna wear some Black Power fists in my ear. It's nonverbal communication. That means,
and we need to stop writing ourselves or each other off. Like you said, we do that quick. We be like, oh, girl, look at her. She got all them chips. Girl, look at all them kids. Or she on food stamps. Or we be so quick to judge each other and ready to write each other off instead of coming together and helping each other. And man, it just amazes me how that goes to self-hate. But it just amazes me how not only them, but us, how we are quick to judge each other.
And women.
If that was us up there, it wouldn't just be white folks calling us thugs and stuff. It'll be Black folks too. Like, now they know better. Now why
they shouldn't even be acting like that? They need to let them keep killing our babies, and we already a minority, so they wipe us off the map. They need to not keep having kids because they gonna kill each other anyway. We can just watch them kill themselves. We can just funnel drugs and guns to their community and let them kill their own self.
They ain't got to do it no more.
Because we know that's where the drugs and guns are coming from.
But they can't afford to feed their house. How the hell they get some drugs from Cuba? They can't even leave the city because they scared of the police. Now that's a question. I know somebody that make $10,000 a month that won't drive in the county.
Don't make me come through this Zoom. Don't you make me come through this Zoom.
Now, who lying? You gonna give me a file right here? Look, just give me an outfile right there.
Don't make me come through this Zoom.
You making what's good time? $120,000 a year won't even drive the bail file because you scared to get locked up. Now I know you fucking lying to me. I'm in the violence. Not. And then I had a white friend tell me, why you listening to Trina? Because I listen to Trina. When people's kids around, tell their fucking kids to cover their ears. Why can't I listen to Trina in my vehicle? Because I teach twerk class and I want to listen to Look Back at It. I'm Black. Look Back at It. I ain't got no butt, but that's my jam. That's my jam. Now you go to HBCU, they gonna be like this, and they gonna be skinny and fit and healthy. Y'all don't want us to do what the ancestors do.
You can't be a person and be a teacher.
No. Oh
no.
Get a cup of wine if you want to. You gonna be on the news.
Oh no. Mm-mm.
Oh my, she's
cannot be a person and an educator. Like
they tell me,
Be careful what you put on social media.
What?
Let me tell you something. All my degrees and all my years, you don't have to tell me what to watch to put on social media. I'm not an idiot. I put on social media what I want to be
To
seen.
say.
And
I
if
can't hear you,
decide
Ribbon.
I want to twerk and put this little flat behind out here on social media, wherever.
It's mine.
Right, we can't hear you, Ribbon. You going out. We can't hear you.
We lost her.
Right, we lost you. She talking. Right, she sound like she's speaking some stuff. We can't hear you.
Somebody on Zoom to shut you down. You were speaking too much truth.
Right, see, look, it's the system.
You hear
They
me
heard
now?
You know what you get?
Can't hear it. Shut
The
it down.
system to shut you down. Right,
You
like,
tried
they
it.
speaking too much stuff right now.
Can you hear me?
Shut the
A
whole
little bit
internet down.
better. It's a little bit better.
Trump probably on here.
You know it. Oh no, we need to put a Confederate flag across this and then paint it on their face.
Y'all, it's
They don't
silly.
want them furry hats.
Oh no, cut it off. No talking, cut it off.
Right, we speaking too much fast. They like, no, they can't. We can't let them keep talking like this.
Up out of here.
Right. Oh boy, that's crazy. We heard you a little bit though, y'all. But y'all, so man, this has been an awesome conversation, y'all. It's the entertainment in it of all. I appreciate y'all, ladies, for real on this. Let's kind of wrap it up a little bit because I know we all want to respect each other's time and things like that. I do want to say, is there anything with you guys being in all different avenues of education field? Is there anything that you guys are willing to advise, suggestions, or anything with a parent that's dealing with the COVID and the pandemic in school right now? Can you provide anything for them at all?
Ask for help when you need it. You know, and even as teachers, we need to go. I go to my parents' house 2 times a week. I don't be up in their face, but I drop off care packages with my funds or whatever resources I got, because I don't even have children. I haven't physically had children, but I have 3 teenage children in my house. I have a 3-bedroom house. It can occupy 8. I got 3 grown kids, 2 cats and a dog, and none of them came from me. My dad's dog, the girl's cat, her friend's cat. Because guess what? Somebody opened their door for me when I ain't had nowhere to go. I slept on somebody's floor. I didn't been in the basement using the restroom down the drain. I'm not ashamed to say it because of the simple fact that trauma occurs. I've been molested. I didn't speak up. So I was depressed. So many things that happened to me. And then one day I realized I wanted to die. I used to pray to die because my life was too hard. I felt like a 100-year-old woman and I was a kid, or in my 20s, my identity was stolen. My sister hung herself. But guess what? I'm not telling y'all that because it's a cry for help. I'm telling y'all that because I read a footprint poem from one of my grandmother's house. And it said, when you see 2 steps, footprints instead of 4, I was carrying you. So Jesus, God, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit had to carry me through the stuff that I've been through. And I'm not saying that it's easy because it's hard. I spent the night in the psych ward. But my job, no. I have anxiety paperwork right now. I'm traumatized as an adult. And I have the mental capacity to keep going. But these kids are babies. Their mind is not where my mind is at. They haven't built synapses. They haven't had experiences. So protect our babies. Even if they come to your house and steal a couple dollars, just tell them, you know what, if you steal from me, I'm gonna call the police, but I still love you. Because if the kids don't learn how to love, or they don't receive any love, they're never gonna learn how to love. And if you steal from me, I might have my cousin come over here and go off, or I might go off, and I'm gonna keep you safe. You hear me? But if you go on and snuff and steal, you might die.
Right.
You might die.
Right.
From picking up a bag of Skittles. So foster your community. Open up your doors. I had a kids from across the street. I have an art studio. I showed you. I let them paint and play and eat candy and make pizza and teach them recipes. I teach my niece. I teach my cousins. I take them to college fairs. I expose them to things outside of the norm. I let them know that it's okay to be Black and be beautiful. It's okay to wear an afro. It's okay to ask for help. And then I want to let the white people know that feel that particular type of way, like the freedom fighters. It's okay to open your mouth. They gonna call I'm a nigga lover. I have friends in my Facebook when I say something, they agree with me and they send them to my inbox. You should say this. You should say this. I ain't about to say shit. You say it. What's wrong with your damn mouth? You the one, right? You the one. Then
They want to hear from you better than they want to hear from me
You think
anyway.
I'm your spokesperson and I'm over here struggling, can't afford to pay attention, got 14 cents in my account and got $1,000 rent payment on somebody else's house. They won't even fix the tub. No, you take your white tail on there and write. I agree with you, Shermel. We as a community should stand up for what's right and what's fair. There should be inclusion and cultural diversity and acceptance of Ebonics as a language because it's the way that we communicate in particular settings. And if you need to use proper English, just know that there's a time and place for everything. But even if I give a speech in front of 50 people, I'm going to do one of these.
Okay.
One of the, or I'm going to say, I know damn well I should be working for $41,000.
That's one of the things that cracks me up. You don't pay me enough to change. You don't pay me enough to not say y'all. You gonna get
And
this,
be
y'all.
exposed to COVID while I'm obese.
y'all. I'm getting ready to get off because I have another meeting to go to. But the advice that I would give to parents is that give yourself a break. Like give yourself a break, give yourself a pass. And whatever places that you feel overwhelmed, think about a teacher that you only have to deal with your house of children, whoever your one child or 5. Whatever place that you need support and you need a pass on, think about that from the perspective of the educator, because now they have everybody's kids and they have to consider all their children and all their students and all the siblings. And also, whatever level of support you can provide, if it's coming to parent-teacher conferences or writing a letter or sending an email, do it. All those things add up. It packs up bigger punch whenever we have 5 emails from 5 parents than having 1 email from 1 parent. If it's something that you don't like or something that you do like or something that you want to see change, be vocal about it. Tell somebody if you don't have the means to, be engaged in whatever level that is acceptable by going to a meeting or voting or whatever your thing is that you can do to support, do what you can do in your capacity, whatever you have the bandwidth to do, because it's important and it can lead to change. That's the best advice that I have for parents. Give yourself a break and do what you can to support whatever cause or whatever thing that you need, that you support or you would like to see change. Do whatever you can. I'm getting ready to get off here because I have another meeting to go to. It was amazing talking to you all. It was a pleasure. Thank you for the invite. This is an amazing platform.
Real
I wish you
quick,
the best
Ribbon.
and more success.
No, before you go, give them your information if you want to, where they can reach you. Because I know you said you were doing some running. So if somebody wants to get in touch to help support you, how can they do that?
You can go on my Facebook. I'm on Facebook under Ribbon Williams. My email address is ribbonjwilliams@gmail.com. You can email me if you want me to get on anything or help support with anything, or you need me to be vocal on anything, reach out. I'm always available. I'm a teacher at Patrick Henry. If you need to reach out to me on that medium, I work for St. Louis Public Schools. So, all my information is public. I'm available if you need me. It was a pleasure. Nice meeting everybody.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
I'll be looking you up, Ribbon. All righty. Bye, ladies.
Bye-bye. You be safe.
Thank you.
Okay, and Miss Alice, you want to close us out, honey?
Sure. So I am not a classroom teacher, so I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but I will say one thing that we all know is to talk to your folks, talk to your teachers, and ask for support. Do it in whatever way that you can communicate with your folks, email, text, whatever, hopping in the screen and saying what you need to say. Communicate with them and let them know what's going on with you and your family, and ask for whatever support you need. You never know. Like Charmaine was saying, you taking resources to people's houses. You never know who's willing to support you in that way. I have an after school program. We're virtual, but we do have certified teachers who are tutoring students, and we do different things to help the kid. It breaks up the monotony that they're not just drilling all day, and I can't speak to what they're actually doing all day, but I know that it ain't all fun and games. So we do have some fun and games, but it's also educational. So find a program or find some YouTube videos or something that can help be educational, but take your mind off of the daily stress of what it is you're doing, and get some interaction, even though it's not face to face. You can
Right.
get interaction with some different folks who understand your struggle, because we all doing the same thing.
Yes, I definitely want to hit on too. I think what is really important as a parent, because I'm not, like I said, I could never be a teacher. That's not my specialty. But I do love to rally around programs. Like I know they have the parent is teacher program, they have the after school programs, the Boys and Girls Club, but we need more of those type of things in our communities. We definitely need to rally around that because, like I said, some parents just ain't capable. And so, how do we get that to them? Giving them that resource. So, if anybody out there listening to me, like, look at her, start up, y'all, some straight programs that benefit children and the young. Separate grassroots organizations. How about that? We need some of them. We need a lot of them. Come.
I would love to open up a home.
Or if you have a grassroots organization that is specifically around education and children, please holler at the Hood Talks podcast because we would love to highlight you. I am definitely looking for those type of organizations to highlight because we need them and we need to let them know that people know that they're out there. So I'm definitely open to having those interviews and talking to those people if you have those type of organizations. But how, ladies, can anybody reach you if you want to let them reach you? I know Alice, again, use my background of my children. If I know that you have, you're running for council of Jennings, correct? Am I right? Did I say that right?
I'm for City Council Ward 1 in Jennings. I changed my screen name to Alice Ladybug Wilson. That is my Facebook name. I'm on Instagram as Ladybug. I haven't been doing much on Instagram, but I just started a Facebook page for the campaign, and I'm trying to figure out what it is because I don't know yet. But we're still at the very beginnings of the campaign, but you can definitely find me, Alice Ladybug Wilson, on Facebook.
And Alice is another graduate. I'm sorry, Charmel. Alice is a graduate of the 2020 NLF program that I just graduated from. And she's actually my accountability partner. So, you know, I got nothing but support and love for her. So, y'all and Jenny, all my Jenny folks better come out and show out for my girl, okay, now? I ain't playing.
I would not have been on here if not for you, because me in front of the camera, most of the time on NLF, I had my picture up, okay? So, this was only for you, okay? I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone, okay?
You did awesome, honey. Y'all did. This was I love all my shows because I love all this conversation. Yeah, but y'all ladies was dope. I swear to God. And thank you, Charmel, for inboxing me and being like, "Hey, I want to be on the show."
If the hood talking, I want to talk.
Yes, she did that. So this is because of Charmel Bell that this show is happening. So go ahead, girl. Tell them how we can get in contact with you.
Actually, can I ask Alice a question first? Can you tell me how to change my name on here? Because I actually only use Teams. Rename, there it is. I figured it out. I pushed the 3 dots.
Me and Teams are not friends. I can't figure it out. But if you mouse over your picture up at the top right, it says mute, and you got 3 dots. Click on the 3 dots, and then it'll say rename.
There you go.
So there I am. It's similar to Zoom, but I didn't know I had to click the picture. I just did that one. When you said, so my name is Charmel Bell, and I can be found as Charmel B at Yahoo and Gmail. I also have St. Louis Kirby Girl Slay email, but that was an initiative for sisterhood in St. Louis, but it's a national initiative that I saw ran across one night, and it promoted education, fitness, sisterhood, camaraderie for all women, because that's another thing we probably need to touch. The fact that women, regardless to our race, creed, culture, we're paid less than men across the board, you know, and then we hold the bulk of the weight. And then when you add the Black to the woman, it almost makes you the bottom of the barrel. And it's sad because we hold all the weight. And then when we stand up for ourselves, we're toxic, we're bitter, we're damaged. I'm not damaged, I'm full of God. But I have to learn, if God told Noah to build an ark and drown everybody, do you think I'm gonna let you kill me? God turned people to salt and sent them to hell too. Jesus died for my sins, but look, sometimes gotta see you to hell if you gonna drown me. It ain't nothing personal. But I'm not, people like, it's 2021, I would be positive. I ain't talking about nothing bad. I'm leaving the past. You can't leave the past unless you go to counseling, teach somebody else, heal yourself while you heal your community. And maybe if you teach somebody that I've been there, I've seen that, I'm not ashamed of that, I've been molested. You don't have to hide who you are. There's so much stigma. I've had somebody tell me my uncle slept with me, but nobody said something. I've had a white girl say my daddy slept with me. It's not happening just in the African American community. And it's taboo to even say something. I'm the black sheep for standing up. I'm outrageous. I'm loud. I'm ghetto. Why do I have to be labeled in negative ways? Or I'm selfish for taking care of myself. I shouldn't feel ashamed to say no. Like I heard of something about the power of no. No, I cannot. I'm sorry, because I need to use my resources to keep me afloat. And that's one thing that I have to really thank and send a shout out to my principal, Marvin Eccles, for teaching me. Bell, your cup is running low. You cannot empty your cup for somebody else, because guess what? When your cup runs empty, you're going to have to fill it back up. The same people that you've been giving everything to, they may be preoccupied with something else. So take care of you. Use your self-care capabilities. If you got to take a break, if you got to take a day off, sometimes you got to let people go, because guess what? If, say for instance, I die, then somebody gonna do what they had to do. They not gonna stop living because I'm dead. And that's the truth. And that's something that's really a big one that makes my back get tight, because I feel guilty about doing my homework instead of helping my mom or my daddy or my cousin or my brother. My brother in the feds. My niece needs help. I'm an educator. I don't feel good giving my students A's and watching my niece with a CMD. And I hate to tell you, but her teacher is not African American. And I had an African American principal tell me that's one of my best teachers. I said, I beg to differ. I beg to differ, because when my niece said, I don't understand, can I listen to the video again? She said, no, you can't, just take the quiz. And then when I reteach my niece with proper strategies, then you want to say, don't help the students. Well, what do you want me to do? You want me to let her fail? Then when I asked her mom to fill the consent form out, her mom would think it's going to interfere with her food stamps, so she gonna tell me no. My brother's in the feds. The principal talking about, have him call me. From where? The penitentiary phone? The system, I'm just asking.
I was saying, that's what we've been saying from the beginning. It's a system, and it's a lot of parts to this system. You know what I mean? A lot of parts of this system that is failing us all. Point blank, period. It's failing us all. It is. It definitely is. The mother, the child, the community. It's failing.
The fathers are African American men.
Yes.
In jail for selling drugs, and then all these people that's smuggling the drugs in, they got money for lawyers.
Yeah, it's a system.
You could be a street pharmacist, you could be a real pharmacist.
It's levels to this, man. But it's like an onion. We gonna keep peeling on the hood talk. We gonna keep peeling them back. Peeling them back. You hear me? So you ladies, I appreciate you guys again for being on the show. We're gonna go ahead and close out. I do want to say thank you guys for tuning in. Be on the lookout for the next episode that's going to be live on January 23rd. It's going to be the fight for equity and the man's role in it. Again, that show will be live. And check us out on Facebook, The Hood Talks. We live shows. I have show all the content and what's going to be coming up for the next 2 months. I do have lined up 6 shows. So thank you guys. I appreciate the support, man. I launched in December and we is on a roll. I do appreciate you guys. I really try to be inclusive and be involved as much as I possibly can. And I also do want to say, shout out to the Hood Talks, because we just got word that we got our first grant. So let me tell you, we got some things that's going on that I can't wait to start doing and launching with this. Man, I'm grateful. I am grateful. So man, be on the lookout, y'all. I do appreciate it. No, thank you guys. Thank you for coming up here and letting this, man, this is y'all. I want people to feel comfortable in speaking how they speak, how they are, what they believe in, no matter what. There is no judgment here. Do you hear me?
Authentic. Be your authentic self.
Yes, be your authentic self. That's point blank, period. That's what we're supposed to do. Everyone is different. in our skin we're in, and we have to support each other no matter what. And we might not always agree on the same things, but hey, what we can agree on, let's move forward with that. And right now, what we all agreeing on is that there's a system against us, and we need to fight against that system. Point blank, period. So, whatever your avenue is, let's get out here and let's make this known that it's not fair, and we need some changes. We need some changes. All right, y'all. So I'm gonna get on out of here, and thank you, ladies. Y'all all be safe, and we'll see you next time.